Hey, this is Seagrove, and today I'm here with my friend Steven, who has been killing it at cup after cup after cup with Xerneas BREAK. I'll let him tell you more about that. When I say I'm here with him, he's sitting right beside me, so he's going to sit here in a minute and tell you guys about his list. But a lot of people have been asking for his list, so here it is. So Steven, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Name's Steven Hunter. My brothers got me into it like way back, like around when Great Encounters, and I basically got into it competitively like 4 years after. I don't know. I've been kind of like I like sticking to my guns when it comes to certain decks. Like I played most of the season with Gardevoir, got most of my points off of it so far. But I decided to switch it up a little bit with a Xerneas deck. This is actually a modified version of a Kreckler's list, but I've seen some moderate success with it. First, I think we're gonna go over the list here real fast. First off, I'm playing 4-3 line of Xerneas BREAK. It's the main attacker of the deck. Life stream, once you get enough energy in the board, it can hit for some really nice numbers. The numbers you're usually trying to strive for is the 210 mark. That can be hit usually with about 8 energies and a choice band. But if you're having trouble getting to that point, there are definitely some things you can go with, some avenues you can take to get until you get to that point. One of those is Silvally GX. This thing is it's one of the things that made the deck viable for me again. It's got that really nice gyro unit attack. So like if you start with a Xerneas, you can easily attach an energy to it, do a couple geomancies, and you can gyro unit it out of there if you decide, hey, your opponent is benched too many Pokemon and you want to use its GX attack, which is the same as the Lycanrocs, but it costs an extra energy. But the benefit is it's colorless. So it's a little easier to power up, especially in the Xerneas deck where you play DCEs and you play Fairy Energies. The first attack though, the non-GX, that right there actually can get you some really nice KOs after you have taken a big one with Rebel GX, and also put your energy back on the field. Because this deck it does seem to like want to discard sometimes, especially since like I'm not playing any other switch options other than Guzma. So that's definitely a good way to I guess get some more energy back in the field. Next, this is the backup plan. This is when you haven't gotten your Xerneas set up. This is when your Silvally, you don't actually want to start using it yet. You have the new engine that you can use called with counter energy. This is actually a really nice card because you will fall in prizes. You will probably lose the first Xerneas you put up there, and even like now since Zoroark, Lycanroc is a big deck, you might even lose a Silvally as well. This card just opens up a bunch of options for you, which actually got me thinking about a deck that a little more techie options. Usually I just go with 2 techs, but I decided to, Zoroark Lycanroc was a big enough threat that I had to tech a little more for that one. It worked out. It got me a top 4 today. But I still think like this, unless the tournament calls for it, the meta calls for it, you can cut down on some of the attacks. But what I ran was the Sudowoodo. This is probably what I use the most today. Watch and learn. Like if they use, for example, Zoroark GX's Riot to Speeding, just slap a counter energy on this, and you can just copy Riot Speeding as well, and you can actually do a one-shot on them, and they have to basically come up with a response. Otherwise, you can just retreat this with a Silvally and just keep on going from there. Another card was Cobalion. This card it's a really good late game, as well as being a good card to counter Gardevoir. I haven't seen much of it in my tournaments and local cups, but it's good just in case. But it can also be really good in the very, very late game against like Zoroarks, anything with 210, because you put they take like say since you have one prize attackers, they very easily can get down to that point where they have like say just 1 prize left. And this card plus counter energy, even plus a counter catcher, you can hit up to 210 with just this one thing alone, and that could be your last 2 prizes of the game. I've taken several games like that. Another new addition. This is something that was shown to me by a friend named Sean, who placed actually second place at a League Cup in Georgia because he ran like this crazy Zoroark tech deck is the Shaymin from Shining Legends. The first attack is really relevant because you're playing counter energies, and if you're behind on prizes and you're using flippity flap, you got a lot more problems than just a dead hand. But the attack you see in here for is a rally back. A lot of times they'll take a very cheeky quick knockout with a like a Rack and Rock GX, and that can set you back a little bit, especially if they took it off of the Silvally GX. This just allows you to have a really solid response because it does for a Grass and a Carless, which is basically covered by the counter energy. You do 30 damage plus 90 if one of your Pokemon was knocked out last turn. This one-shots Lycan Rock GX, which in my current meta where I'm at, I'm not sure about others, has been really popular lately. So I'm imagining that this was definitely a card that I had to take note of once I saw it being used in Sean's deck to a great effect and success. So other than that, we have support Pokemon, your basic, I guess for good draw, you got a Rangaroo, draw 3, because this deck can run through with cards in your hand and to where you can just draw some more cards off of Rangaroo. Just keep yourself from being N down to 1. I think it's a really good way to just prevent that, because you can get, if you get N to 1, that can be pretty bad in late game, because you need to get these combos off with your counters. Once again, Tapu Lele, I think it's self-explanatory. But this thing can also be a decent attacker because you can simply you're using Geomancy, so you can power up the Tapu Lele while you're powering up other things. So it can turn into a really nice attacker as well. That rounds out the Pokemon. So you're running 17. The next cards I want to touch on are some of the cards that the Crimson Invasion gave us as well, the counter aspect of the deck, which Counter Catcher is the first thing that comes to mind, because this card, if you fall behind prizes, it is so good. This card will win you games in certain situations. The 2-to-1 prize count is ideal for this card. I run 2 because the opportunity doesn't rise that often, but when it does, this card can really kick it in the clutch. You have to be down on prizes, but if you're attacking with a counter Pokemon like Shaymin or Cobalion in general, this card does come in handy. Once again, we got 2 Field Blower. It's just you don't want to get Gar blocked, especially with your Silvally or your Rangaroo. And sometimes there's tool in the field like a Choice Band. Because a lot of people take out using knockouts on your GXs to even the prizes. This is good for that. You don't get locked under a really bad stadium like Parallel City, because this card, this deck doesn't play any fields at the moment. So 2 Field Blower, I felt like it was a must. 3 Max Elixir. This card it can help in the early game, also the late game if you put some more energy in your deck by using Super Rod. I'll show you that in a minute. But the 3 Max Elixir it's good early game, but I feel like you're not going to need it later on, so that's why I'm only running 3, since you're Geomancing so much in the early game. But it definitely is useful to get some extra energy in the field, especially since we have so many 60 HP Pokemon. Being able to get 2 energy on a Xerneas and then attach 1 via Max Elixir can actually hit 60 right off bat. And Super Rod, of course, where I'm playing 1, just some deck refresh. 4 Ultra Balls, pretty standard. 4 N, 3 Gizmo, 2 Bridget, pretty standard as well. Now, the Sycamore, I opted to go down to 3 for today. But you can play 4 if you want, if you find the room for it, if you want more consistency. I found that I didn't want to discard a lot of my options since I'm playing counter options. You don't really want to discard those early on, because we will not have access to them later on if you do so, like your counter energies, your counter catchers. There's no way to get those back once they're discarded. So a lot of times you do just want to use N and just continue ramping up. But later in the game, Sycamore does become more useful over N sometimes. And it's a balance between the two. But I thought the 3N was nice, and 3 Sycamore was nice in the deck, and 4N was good to preserve resources. I played 2 Choice Bands. I'd like to run another one, maybe a 3rd Choice Band, because these help you hit those special numbers like 220, 210, 180 a lot better, especially since that's what you want to hit most of the time. But I decided to run 2 because this is a very tight list, so I had to make some cuts somewhere. But I figured like this one, like just two of these makes the deck work pretty well. Plus, you're running N a lot. Once again, you're preserving resources, so you play these down as needed. Next, we're going to the energy count. I'm playing 11 fairy energies. Just hit the max elixirs, and Xerneas attack feeds off that. So those are nice. I also play 3 DCEs. Just you play these down, they're actually really good because although you do need 2 fairy energies to attack with Xerneas BREAK, DCs can go anywhere else in the field. They can go to your Savali's because it's like 3 energy attachments, but DC just makes it a 2. A Rangaroo even becomes an option since it has a decent attack to work with. And just so many other things become options, including Tapu Lele. So DC also, it counts for 2 energies towards life stream. So this is just basically you're putting it down, instant 40 damage in the field. The last card I want to touch on that really just backs up the counter strategies in here is the counter energy. This card is basically allows you to use, like I said, it allows you to use all the rest of these counter Pokemon. And I just run 3 of them because although I would like 4 seems like it'd be nice, you don't want to use them. These aren't really the main way you're going to get energy in the field. But running just 3 means you're going to be able to have enough to use your counter strategies later on. But yeah, that's the list. It's a pretty solid 60. There's definitely some cards you can take out for some based on your meta. You can even cut down the counters down to like 3 or so. But this is a really strong list. I've had a lot of fun playing it. I mean, this deck is super fun to play. It just has a lot of options, and I think that if you go into your meta, like you don't see a lot of like bad matchups. Like I would say, if you're going to, I think Guardy's a tough matchup simply because how energy intensive this deck is. The Cobalion helps that matchup a little bit, but they can easily find a response to Cobalion. So Gardevoir might be a bad matchup. I think that Celesteela, Silvally, with Registeel might be a bad setup, but it's still pretty good. But definitely Lycanroc, Zoroark, that can pose some problems. They start setting up, which is why I thought it necessary to try to hard counter it. But other than that, this deck doesn't have too many bad matchups. It can do pretty well against decks that also need to set up because they just take longer. Like Metagross, I haven't had many problems with them. I haven't had many problems with Bulu decks either. It's just a solid list if you're trying to go for a quick setup with your Pokemon, and even like maybe like a slow burn setup with your energies. But yeah, that's the deck. I've had some moderate success with it, and I look forward to seeing if it stays viable. I definitely might consider playing in the future. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it.
Real quick, list off how many tournaments, how many cups you played it in, and what places you got.
All right. I played in this deck in 3 different cups, and 2 in Georgia, 1 in North Carolina, and I have top 8 2 of them, and I finished top 4 in 1.
All right, cool. Thank you. Hey guys, so I also wanted to show you the deck I used for this cup. I got top 8. I used Coco Garbodor. I'm actually going to write an entire article about it on FlipSideGaming.com, but I thought I'd go ahead and give you the list, and I can explain some of the choices then and some of the matchups. But it's so fun. It is so fun. So I wanted to go ahead and give you guys a list if we wanted to start testing it. But FlipSide Gaming articles are free, so definitely check them out and subscribe to the channel.